First word, top line, Lama days.
Let's go overboating, guys.
Lama days. And all right, so we were discussing, a person goes ahead.
You talk about a conversation with your dad, yes. Well, about how nuts you were.
All right. So we left off yesterday talking about somebody goes ahead and gives his
Away.
I said it away again.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't go yet. So
Tripping up their heavies.
as we discussed yesterday, let's say a person gives a entire his estate to his wife. So he said really what he wants is he wants to be giving it to his wife because he wants his children to be respecting his wife, and therefore she'll be in charge of the money. Then they'll go ahead and listen to her. So Boy Rava, first word, top line, Kuflam and base, and away we go. Boy Rava. The bar yehech. Now, what about if a person is a healthy person? Now, we're going to see this a couple of times. We had these questions by Matas Shrimera. Matas Shrimera, special halacha that a person is, since he's able to go ahead and give gifts away, therefore he's on his deathbed, he's allowed to go ahead and allocate his assets. And once he dies, it goes back to Lamafreya as when he gave away. So, bar yehech. What about if the person is healthy and he wants to go ahead and give everything to his wife? Do we say that only in a case of a shchimera, that was since he's dying, he wants them to listen to her, but if he's healthy, then he'll be around, so they'll be able to go ahead and listen to her. Or maybe even if she's healthy, even if he's healthy, he still says it's going all to her because he doesn't really intend to give her the entire estate. Rather, what he wants is for them to go ahead and respect their mother. So 4 lines to the top, Kuf Lamed 132, Kuf Lamed Beis, Mad Aleph, 4 lines to the top. So what happens when he's buried? So Tashma, come listen to this brisa. One who goes ahead and he writes all the certain fruits of from my estate, they will go to my wife. And then let's say he dies or get divorced. So by her accepting the gift, she has not relinquished her rights to her ksuba. Rather, so she goes ahead and collects the ksuba from the land. Lametza, let's say he goes ahead and he gives her, let's say, half of the land of the shlish to be a quarter of the land. Gova ksubasa. Once again, she even though she accepts the gift, she is accepting the gift, but not in return for the release of her lien to the ksuba. That was so the other stuff, she took a third of it. So the other 2/3, which would go to the kids, she collects her ksuba from. Kasav called the kasav the ishto. Let's say he writes all his nechasim to his wife as a gift. The yatsa loves shtarchov, and then all of a sudden, so let's say the guy had a $100 estate, and he writes over, here's your gift. $100. What?
The gift is
right now.
waiting till I die and get my property. So I'll give you a gift.
Correct. Oh, so see, we're trying to bring this in as a proof. What happens if a person tries to give over his estate to his wife, if he's healthy, right? Because we said when he dies, he's only doing it so they respect the mother, right? That was as far we ended with yesterday. Now, so what happens when he gives it over to his wife while he's healthy? Is he doing it so they respect the mother, but he doesn't really mean to give it to her, and really she's in charge of, she's the apotropos, she's like in charge of the estate, but eventually it'll go to the kids, or does he intend to give her everything? So let's see what's going on in this verse. So obviously in this case, so the person goes ahead, he gives it to his wife, but let's say he gives her $100, right, the estate right now, and all of a sudden, but 3 months earlier, he borrowed $100, and now so he comes to the estate and says, "Oh, she has the estate." So you know what she should do, or she can do? She can go up and say, "You know what? I don't need the gift. I never relinquished the rights to my ksuba." Right? It's you want to go ahead and collect it. That's fine, but I have a ksuba, and my ksuba, since I got married 4 years ago, is before the date of this loan. So therefore, your loan is nothing. In other words, 4 years ago she got married. A year ago, the guy borrowed money, and now he's giving to her as a gift, right? So if we say that it's a gift, therefore the gift came after the loan, and therefore she would lose the gift because the husband really owed the money to somebody else, and he couldn't give it away. So therefore we'll go to her. But if it's not a gift, right, we say her ksuba is still in place, so then she would end up with it because she would end up with the lien of her ksuba. Tikra ksuvasa tera per ksuba. By her accepting this loan, she basically has relinquished her rights to the ksuba. But now she has a gift. It turns out she's bald from both sides, right? She lost her gift, and she doesn't know she relinquished her lien to the ksuba. The other Rabbi Yehuda, Anachim says Rabbi Anachim, so Maisavira Kalas once happened to my sister's daughter, who was my daughter-in-law, i.e., my son married his first cousin. And then what happened? And my son, I guess, went ahead and borrowed money, and then he gave away, right? And then he tried to give to his wife, right, my niece, the estate. They say Tigar Ksavasa. By her accepting the gift, she has basically, in lieu of the gift, she basically gave up her rights, relinquished her rights to the ksuba. The Tama Batanasa, and there now all she has is the $100 or whatever it was that was given to her as a gift. The Nin says it turns out that since the loan took place before the gift, therefore she loses both. Now, what's our proof here? So Tam of the Yatzalav Shtarchov. The reason over here that she loses the gift is because there was a Shtarchov. But let's say there wasn't a Shtarchov, so she would get the gift. Right? So Kanya, she would, right, the gift is hers. Now, uvamai, if we're talking about a shchid mira and he gave it to her and she acquires the gift, we said at the end of yesterday's daf, right? If a person gives away his assets to his wife, the only reason why he's giving to her is so the kids respect her after he dies. Rather now, we're not talking about, because if that was the case, it wouldn't be a matana, she would just be an apitropos to the estate. So what is a scenario where it would be a matana to her? Elav, bebarya. Rather, we're talking about where he was healthy. And therefore, what do you see over there? That a person goes ahead and gives away when he's healthy to his wife. It's not for the purposes of his children or his children respecting her. Rather, it's the purpose of her keeping the gift. Segura says, no, it's not a good proof. We're really talking about shchimira. If it was talking about a person on his deathbed, you said he was only giving it to her for that reason, for the kids to respect her. So Gemara answers, well, no. So that which we said, for Vira, if you recall at the end of yesterday's daf, we asked certain cases. Let's say he was giving it to his divorced wife, or let's say he was giving it to his arusa, or let's say he was giving it to his, his wife amongst his brothers. So all those cases. Right, so Rav Avira, right, would establish mukila b'kulu. He would, all right. So according to Rav Avira, so he would say that those cases we're talking about that those cases don't work because, as we saw earlier, those cases he's giving it as a gift. There is no need for respect. In other words, it's only when it comes to his children respect his wife, but he doesn't need people to go ahead and his brothers to respect his, his wife. Or people to respect his ex-wife. And Ravina would say, Motila b'ishto arusa v'ishto grusha. You'd say it only work in the two cases of ishto arusa v'ishto grusha. In other words, if a person's going ahead and giving to his arusa wife, or he's giving it to his divorced wife, in such a case, that's not for the purposes of respecting her, because he doesn't care for them to respect her. Rather, it must have indeed been a matana, and in that case, it was a matana. So therefore, the loan. In the case if there was a loan, then she would lose that matana to the loan. And Amar Rav Yosef, Rabbi Numa, Rav Nachman, halacha. What is halacha? Tikra ksuvasa. She tears out the ksuba if she accepts it. The tamod amadrasa, and now she's left with just the gift. The name says it turns out since the loan predated the gift, karka mekan, she ends up with nothing.
This will still be all worth $6 money. Say it's $1 million and the loan was $100, then sure she'd rather keep the estate.
Say it again. If the estate,
right,
yeah.
Oh, but there was a loan come back $100.
Right.
The year before. Who cares? So here's $100.
Right. From the correct. So over here,
assuming that is all
right. But the other case is right. But she would, in other words, she would have to pay the loan. Right. She would have to pay the loan. That's what we're saying. She had to pay the loan. So when we're saying she's bald from both sides, right? The karcha mekan, like bald from both sides, it means that. In a scenario where, let's say, the loan was basically the amount of the ksuba, then she, right, and then, which was the gift, also, then she ends up with nothing, right? But yeah, like you're saying, if the gift was $1 million, the gift is in its place, and the loan is $1,000, so okay, so she has 999,000. So Gemara says, "Lanema de Leazar of Nachman bar Umdana." So if Nachman doesn't go after the Umdana, right now, Umdana is basically when we sort of get into the head of the person who was making the deal. Now, in this case, the woman. Right, like she's accepting it. Why? She's accepting it for her benefit. So she's relinquishing her ksuba to collect this gift now, which she's going to lose. So she would never ever wanted that. So why don't you say go basar umdana, right? I Rav Nachman, should he go after what the thoughts are? V'atanim l'nei the brayso harei shalach b'noi l'medinas hayam. Person went to his son went to b'neinas hayam, went overseas. The shavash shemeis b'no, he heard his only son died. V'amad, and he got up v'kasa kol nechasa l'achayim, and he gave his estate away to others. And later on, v'charkach ba b'no. All of a sudden, his son comes back. Dad, I'm home. I thought you died. Matanoso matana. Nevertheless, the gift, his estate was given away. The son is left with nothing. Or Shimon ben Nasi Omer.
But because he did not put precondition, right?
What do you mean? He gave it away. He gave away the
this.
estate. He thought his son was dead. And Rav Shimon ben Nasi Omer, ein matanoso matana. It's not a gift. Even though he gave away to others, by others, he did it thinking that his son was died. Right, but his son was alive. Had he known that his son was alive, like cousin, he never would have given it away at all. So therefore, the whole thing, his whole estate was given away because he thought his son was dead. But that's not the case. So we do an umder over there for Amar Rav Nachman, halakha Rabbi Shimon ben Asya. Halakha Rabbi Shimon ben Asya. That in that case, the gift is not given away since it was done right with the done with the assumption that the son was dead, but he was not dead. So therefore, it's not considered to be a good gift, and therefore, it turns out that the estate remains with the father, who when he dies, will go to his son. And so therefore, bring it to our case, the woman, knowing what she knows now, that there's a shtar chov, so I never would have accepted the matan in the first place. I'll just really, just leave it like it was before, that I believe on the estate for my ksuba, which came before the loan. So our answer is, Shani Hasam, the nicha la, the tepek Allah kala, the kasvino nila lahanu nechasim. You know what? A woman feels good that even despite the fact she's relinquishing her rights to the ksuba, nevertheless, my husband loves me and he gave me this gift now. So since she's like, right? So since he, to her, right? So to her, it's a chashuv. So with that hana, right, of people knowing that she received this gift, so with that hana, she actually relinquishes her rights, and therefore, even if the shtar chov will come later on, that she would deal with that shtar chov.
Now my question from before, the two let's say worth $10,000, and the loan was only, husband gives her a gift of $100.
Right.
She doesn't lose her ksuba for that. She has been paid enough for her ksuba.
So if the so let's see, let's see this case.
Done it.
Let's see this
She
case.
had known that there were outstanding loans
Let's see.
against the property.
Forget that.
Well, so now we're saying that even if there were, right, in other words, the umdana, right, that to her it was worth it to get the gift for people to know that she's a chashuv person. So we'll soon see what happens with the ksuvas more. Let's see. So Taran husband, the guy calls hakaisin nechas lebanav. Right, the cost of the ishto karka kosher. Person writes all his assets to his kids, and he writes to his wife the cost of the ishto karka kosher, a small amount of land. Of the ksuvasa, she has lost her ksuba. In other words, that is mishum. The cost of la karka. So I said mishum. The cost of la karka kosher of the ksuvasa. I understand because she has a small piece of property which does not cover her ksuba. Right, she loses her ksuba. Right, sort of like we were saying. So I'm a rab. So Rav says, she was there to make the kinyan, right? If she didn't approve of it, if she wasn't willing to relinquish up her rights to a $200, let's say a $200 ksuba for a $50 piece of land, she wanted to have done the kinyan. But since she did the kinyan chalipin for them, so therefore that works. Right? Or it was done before her. He gave away all to his sons. He left a little piece of land for her, which really wasn't enough to cover the ksuba. Nevertheless, she was quiet. Shows like she agreed. When he says to her, "Hey, take this piece of land in lieu of your ksuba," and then she's quiet. So therefore, she accepted it. She accepted the bad deal, right? She accepted the bad deal. So umikulek ksuba shanukan. And this is one of the kulas that we find by ksubas. In other words, normally by a lien, right? If someone owes me $100 and I accept a gift for $40, I don't relinquish my $60, the rest of $60. But in the case of a ksuba, even though she's only getting $40 towards $100, she does give it up. This is one of the kulas we said by ksuba. Now, Tanan, Rabbi Yossi Omer, top line of Kula Amad Beis, Rabbi Yossi Omer, Im Kabbalah. If she was makabel it, in other words, she says, I accept this, Even though he didn't write it out for her, right? And he didn't write as a star. Even if he didn't write her land, ksubasa, obviously because of the avda ksubasa. All right, so even though she doesn't know, if she accepts it, in other words, what you see, Michlal, the Tanakama Suber, Ksuba, the Kabbalah, but that we see from the Tanakama, right, that he holds that she must willingly accept it. She must say, I agree to this.
Right.
Now, the other cases, Rav and Shmuel and Rabbi Yossi Rechanina, none of them said she had to verbally agree, right? She had to say anything. Rather, it was just done through her. She was quiet. Over here, it seems to say she was verbally agreed. Maybe it's all Rabbi Yossi, and as it's only either it was written to her, or she verbally accepts it. What are we talking about when she was there and she was makabel? But if she was there and she did not say, I agree, or kabbalah, she received it, of the ksubasa, then she does lose her ksuba, right? In this case, she does lose her ksuba. So here we see that the wife must verbally say, I agree to lose my ksuba. It's not just understood. So Gemara says, tiyufta dekulu tiyufta. So the kash and all those who say just by her being around and being quiet means she agrees. No. Only if she verbally agrees, that's when it counts, but not just her being present.
Right.
And Amarle Rav Rav Nachman. So Rav says Rav Nachman. So Rav Hashmul Rav Yossi. So we have all these shitas of how we know whether the woman agrees or not. So Mar my Sverle. So what do you hold? So Amarle Shani Yomer. I say Kevan Shiasa Shutaf Ben Abanim. Once she's made as a partner with his sons, right now, as his wife is partners with the sons of the ksubasa, she basically loses out her ksuba, because once she's made like one of the guys that her husband trusts her, just like he trusts his sons. So therefore, with that hana that she's getting, she relinquishes her rights to the ksuba. And Itamar Nami, similarly learn Amar Rav Yosef, Rav Yumi, Amar Rav Nachman, Kevan Shasa Shuta up Ben Abanim. Once she's made as a partner with the sons of the ksubasa, she loses out the rights to her ksuba. So by Rava Bebar Yehech. What about all these cases when the husband was healthy? In other words, all these this case we've been discussing, when he gives it over, right, mostly to his sons a little bit. We're talking about a shchimera, but what if he's healthy? Hey, do we say the less lay v'kamachala? Do we say that when he's dying, she knows he has no other property, so when she's getting the small amount, she's being mochelas? But when, let's say, he's healthy, Sava, she maybe thinks, Hadar Kani, he'll go get more land. Yes, he's giving this land away now to his sons. He's leaving me a small parcel, $40, even though the ksuba is $100. But he'll get more, right? He's still working. He'll get more money. There'll be $100 in the state for me to collect my ksuba. So maybe only if he's dead, or excuse me, if he's dying, will she really agree? When she agrees, it means she has in mind that she's not getting the rest. But if she's healthy, if he's healthy, she still thinks I'm going to get the rest of the money, and she does relinquish her rights. Or maybe she says, you know what, this is all he has right now, and who knows if he'll get, and therefore I'm indeed relinquishing my rights to any other ksuba. So take it. The Gemara does not give it theirs. Now, two more maisim. How would you a person says to his kids, so he says, Pauga lebras, or Pauga lebras. He says, okay, half goes to this daughter, half goes to this daughter. The tilsa leitas pay rate.
Another case, right? He's not well.
Who?
The father.
In this case, we'll say This case is back to sick. So now let's say it goes like this. Okay, this daughter gets half. This daughter gets half my estate, and my wife, the tilsa leisas bepray, and she gets a third of the payros. In other words, the payros are split a third. But when it comes to the land itself, the Karen, the principal, that's half and half to each daughter. My wife gets nothing. So Ikla of Nachman, the Surah of Nachman and Surah of the Gabe Rav Chizar of Chizar Amar Leki. Hi Gavin Amai. What's the look in this case? Amar Lo Hachi Amar Shmuel. This is what Shmuel says. Afilu Lo Hikna Lo El Dekel Echad. Even if he only gave his wife one palm tree, the Pereisa for his fruits of the Ksubasa, she has lost her ksuba. Now, by her accepting a third of the payros, that's her relinquishing her rights on her ksuba.
That means give her a birthday gift for his whole life. Because I think.
No, but over here, he was giving away his estate. Now, since he's giving away his estate, he's leaving nothing left. There's nothing left for Ksuba to accept.
You buy her.
So only if she gives up the rights to Ksuba, can he give away the estate.
Last one, something the Torah says you have to give her a ksuba, and by him giving it to his daughters, they can't.
No, but he's not, no, but she's agreeing to it. He can't force it upon her. If he just gives her the kids and says, you're out, then she is not mochelos her part. But by her accepting a gift, yes. So he says, over there, yes, when Shmuel's talking, he gives a small parcel of land or a one palm tree or something. Over here, all he says is she gets a third of the fruits. So he says, metalically come out to, oh, you talking about fruits? Metalically kamina. No, definitely not. If she just gets the rights to cash, fruits, movable objects, that's not in lieu of a ksuba. If she was given real estate, even though it would be worth less than a ksuba, that because she would be mochelos. But the metaltalin, movable objects, peros, that doesn't work. So one more case, right? Say what happens? A third to my daughter, a third to my other daughter, and a third to my wife. She actually gets land. Okay, now. And let's say her ksuba is worth more than her third. And what happens? The shriva chadam ibn Oseh.
What about the fruits?
No fruits in this case. No, it's because they each own a third of the land, so they each get a third of the payros, right? So over here, shriva chadam ibn Oseh. So before he died, right? One of the daughters died, right? So she never really acquired. So shriva ibn Oseh. Savra papi lemeimar lo shak el tilsa. She could only take her ksuba from her 1/3. That's her. She can't go back and take from the other two daughters. Or for the one daughter. And the other land. The other land will go to her sister. Samalei Rav Kahana. So Iluha Darkani. I understand. So if the husband would go ahead and acquire more properties than Milo Shakla, let's say he got new properties after he gave everything away while he was still a shchimer, right? So she would still have, so now he has an estate, and now since there's what left of the estate, so therefore she can go ahead and accept her ksuba from that, right? It's just she gave up her rights on those lands over there. But the kevan diluha their kani shakla, and if the husband was right over here, he would get more property, she would collect it. So hashtanami she goes, so it's over here now that since the father, one of his daughters died, so he would get that third back. That's back in the estate. That's almost viewed like new land, which would still be subject to the lien of the of her ksuba, and therefore that she would be able to go ahead and collect other amounts from her ksuba from that amount. All right, we'll stop here. Go ahead, everybody. So tomorrow, Mr. Shem.